lesson, we looked at ordering fractions from least to greatest.
So basically, first we took all these fractions and we found out this was an improper fraction. So we couldn't find the same denominator, so we kind of split them in half. So we found the improper fraction and the 2/3, and we made this into 9/6 and 4/6. Then we turned that into 90/60 and 40/60. Then we went off to the other two fractions, and we made 1/4 to 5/20 because we multiplied 4 by 5 and 1 by 5. And we made that into, and then we made 5/20 into 15/60. And then we did the same thing to 4/5. We made it into 16/20 and then 48/60. So in the end, we had all the same denominators, and they were 60.
So I just want to make one thing clear, that the reason they went from 6 to 60 here is because they needed this number here. So you did this first, and you did this, because you would not have known to go to 60. There's no way you would have known. But 6 and 20, they figured out that the common denominator is 60, which most of you figured out it was 60. So there is one way of doing it, and now it's easy to put them in order, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then your order was least to greatest, quarter, 2/3. Okay, perfect. And you used this method. I like it. I see you did pictures too. Let's look at what else you did.
Okay.
You drew it out.
Yeah.
So 3 halves. So everything inside this. Hold on, let me just outline this bubble here. So the pictures were pretty obvious too, actually. If you look at their pictures, it shows that the 3 halves was the biggest. I like this. Very good. Okay.
Okay, so what we did is we wrote down the multiples of 2, 3, 4, and 5 since they're the denominators. And from the other side, it says 3 out of 2, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 4, and 4 out of 5. So then we found out that the denominator times something equals 60. So then what we did is, for example, 3/2, we found out that 2 times 30 is 60. And then we found out that 3 times 30 is 90. So then because of that, it's 1 whole and 30/60. And then we found out the other denominators, which gave us.
Okay. What if I were to tell you that all of you did extra work for no reason? Okay. So I'm going to show you, if you have a lot of fractions like this, I'm going to show you an easy way to just start it off. Because there's so many fractions here, I say right away, you just multiply each number. Because why are you going to write down all these numbers? This right here is too much to do. This is a lot, okay, to write down. So here's a recommendation. 2 times 3 times 4 times 5. That, if you just multiply the denominators, that's going to give you 120. That's what it's going to give you. Now, I know 120 is not the lowest. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But then you can like when you get your answers, then you can like lower them too.
But you don't have to reduce them in this case, because all it's asking you is to order them. It's not asking for the lowest, or you're adding, or whatever. So there's one thing you can do. So now 3 halves, we have to switch, we got to multiply. So to get from 2 to 120, you multiply by 60. 3, you'd have to multiply 40. This one you'd have to multiply 30. And this, you'd have to multiply by 10, 24. 24? 24, sure, why not? Okay? So your new answers are going to look like this. 180 over 120. 80 over 120. 30 over 120. And that's going to be 20 times 4 is 80. 96 over 120. So there you have your answers. You can easily pick out which one's the smallest one, which is the next, which is the next, which is the next. You're going to get the same answer. So in a case like this, when you're going least to greatest or greatest to least, Let's multiply out all the denominators, especially if they give you 4 terms. There's another way to do this. Okay? First of all, you know it's least to greatest. Can you tell just by looking at this which is the largest fraction? There is a monstrous clue as to which is the largest fraction. Yeah.
The largest fraction is 1.
Which one's the largest fraction here? Tayab. He says 4 over 5. Everyone's shaking their heads for the people who can't see on the video. Yes. 3 over 2. How do you know that 3 over 2 is the largest fraction? Sergio. It's the only improper fraction. So right away, you can automatically put 3 over 2 right at the end of the line. And it's gone. Is it obvious which one is the smallest fraction? Like, is it just obvious by looking at it? 1/4. That is definitely the smallest. You just know that. And for us, in grade 6, that's just common knowledge now. So now, all that work you did was for nothing. Because all you had to do is figure out which one is bigger, 2/3 or 4/5. What is the common denominator between 3 and 5? What's the common denominator? 15. So that means it's 10 over 15 or times 3, 12 over 15. Done. 12 over 15 is the larger one. So then this would go 2/3. This would go 4/5. And you're done. Okay? So being aware and understanding two things, fractions and what the question is asking you, will make your life easy. So now I'm going to show you another trick today. This is the trick that I should have shared with you at day 1. I didn't because I want you to understand fraction. You'll need your friend the calculator. Okay? So here's what you could do with the calculator. You go in order. You take the numerator, divide it by the denominator. So you take 3 divided 2 is 1.5. So you take 2 divided by 3. You get this large number. So take 2 decimals. This would be 0.67. 1 divided by 4, 0.25. And this is 4 divided by 5, 0.8. And when it's only 1 decimal, the number beside it is 0. I want you to include that number. So now you have these numbers here, and it's asking you which number is bigger. Sorry, which is the smallest number? Is it 1.50, 0.67, 0.25, 0.80? Which is the smallest number out of those 4? 0.25 is the smallest. Okay, 25 is a smaller number. The next one would be, Jazzy? Yeah, 0.67. That's the next number. Then 0.80. And the last one would be what? 1.50. First of all of these numbers are zeros. This is the only one that has a whole number in front of it. So you automatically know this is the largest number. It goes to the end. And then you just look at these numbers here. What's a bigger number, 25, 67, or 80? And we know this. Okay, so you learned a few tricks today on how to order fractions.